That's right, I bought an iPhone. It's the second iPhone I've bought. I bought a second-hand one a couple of years back. It was either a 6 or a 6S when I was learning to code, and I wanted to learn to code in Swift, like iPhone apps and things. And that's why I bought a MacBook. And I wanted a cheap old iPhone to be able to test apps as I wrote them. I never really used it. I didn't really kind of install apps. I definitely didn't put a SIM card in it and take it to work with me. But the iPhone SE 2020 got announced recently. And honestly, it's hard to ignore. £419 or starting at £419. Honestly, I didn't think Apple would do a phone at that price. And it got me thinking. It made me think one of the reasons that people go Android is because they can get pretty decent phones from sort of £200 to £500 in that kind of bracket. And I would never have thought Apple would be in that bracket, basically. There's other reasons people go Android. And honestly, I think, a little bit of the other reason applies to me. I don't like how they do things. I don't like the look of the OS, and that's not what we're here for. I like to think that I'm reasonably impartial and unbiased and will just be honest about things. I like good tech, and when I saw this SE 2020 at this price, I thought, I need to check this out. I need to see what it's all about. Because I think, if nothing else, it'll make some good videos. I'll do some videos about me learning iOS, not learning iOS, using iOS, things like that. So what I would say, if you're an Apple fanboy that's come just to try and start arguments, please don't. I've not felt the need for us to argue between Apple and Android for many years. There's just no need. They've both got their strengths. They've both got their weaknesses. You choose what you prefer and you go with it. It's as simple as that. So this is the product red 128 gig iPhone SE 2020. So this is the first time that I've unboxed an iPhone, I suppose. So I've unboxed a MacBook twice, I think now. It's the Air, and then the Pro that I upgraded to after that. And obviously one of the things with Apple is kind of the unboxing experience and how good that should be. So I'm looking forward to this. Designed by Apple in California. So what have we got in here? Product red. So I think some of my purchase, the profit has gone to COVID-19, whatever you call them. So there we go. Touch ID. So welcome to iPhone. I mean, I wonder if I should actually look at these things that I've never used before. Ring, silent switch. Okay, volume buttons. Wireless charging. I was quite impressed to see that it's got wireless charging. Lightning connector. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I don't like Apple and Apple products. They try and lock you in. Google's very open, I believe, and they were happy. They'd be happy for you to use an iPhone as long as you're using their software, to be honest, in many ways. And they just try, they will produce software that can be used on both operating systems. It's why not, sort of thing. But Apple will try and lock you in. SIM eject tool. Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be sure to use those. So, okay, I mean, that's nicely presented and everything. Let's do that later. Right, here's the device itself. And it straight away, it feels a good, solid, it's an aluminium body with glass front and glass back. And it does feel a nice, solid device. The charging brick, which does, I think, is 18 watts fast charging. Now, I don't know if for Apple that is fast. Android world it's not. But at the same time, 50% in 30 minutes advertised. But the battery in this device is only 1,821 milliamp hours. Now, again, I'm not used to the Apple world. I'm guessing that's plenty. In an Android phone, you'd get laughed out of the place. Like, that would not, there's no way that copes. Got some wired AirPods, which probably don't know why I just unclipped. Didn't mean to unclip that there, because I won't be using them. And there's, I do actually need a new lightning cable because one of my other ones is wearing a bit thin for my iPad at work. Oh yeah, I suppose I unboxed. Did I do a video on that? I don't think I did. I've got an iPad at work. I could have done an unboxing video on that, but. So let's put the box aside. Let's remove. I can't lie, it feels really nice hardware. It does feel very nice. So the power was at the side. Now I've changed the format of my unboxing videos a little bit. It used to be I'd boot them up, I'd get them connected to Wi-Fi, I'd maybe pause the video while I just got updates done, then I'd just kind of browse through things. What I do now, probably basically from this point now, so you can see the screen. I'll go through the specs in a moment. So yeah, basically what I would do, we'll go through the specs and then basically I'll kind of pause. I'll go away for an hour or two, have my dinner, watch a bit of TV, but be fiddling with the device, and then I'll come back just to give some first initial impression thoughts. Now, that might be tricky because I don't know iOS on a phone. I know, I suppose, a bit from the iPad. How different can it be, right? So let's go through some of those specs. Well, as I've said, this is the red one. It's available in black and white. It's 148 grams. Come back to that. 7.3 millimeters thick. It is IP67 dust and water resistance. That's up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. It can be very important for some people. The screen, I would say already that does look a bit budget. It's a Retina IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen, 4.7 inches, 65.4% screen to body ratio, which is not good. And again, that's not, don't think I'm bashing, that's not even opinion. That's almost factual. 65.4% screen to body ratio is not good. I can't remember the last time I reviewed a phone that was that lower ratio. That's not the end of the world, though. I'm just stating that's not good. So it's 1334 pixels by 750. Okay, 326 pixels per inch. Now, on the one hand, again, if that was on an Android device, a screen with these sort of specs, it says 625 nits max brightness advertised. I'll be testing it, obviously. It's got True Tone, it's got ion strengthened glass with olophobic coating, so all of that's okay. But the actual specs, I would expect that to be on a phone that was £120 if it was Android. They're not good. That's okay though, that's not an issue. The actual hardware, so it's an Apple A13 Bionic, which is a 7nm chipset. I think, I don't know Apple hardware. I think that's the newest one. Is that right? No, I don't know. We'll look it up. For the review, I will hopefully know things a lot better. This is kind of just reading through specs. The CPU is a hexa-core, 2 times 2.65, 4 times 1.8, Lightning and Thunder, respectively. It just says Apple GPU, 4-core graphics for the GPU. I have no idea what that means. So this one is 128 gig with 3 gig of RAM. You can get 64 gig storage. It's £50 cheaper at $419. You can get 256 gig storage for $569. It does have Apple Pay. NFC for Apple Pay, which is pretty good on a cheaper device. And it does have stereo speakers, so that'll be interesting. The cameras, so on the back, a 12 megapixel f1.8 wide angle. It's got fade detection, autofocus, optical image stabilization. It'll do that's 4K, sorry, 2160p. 4K 60 frames per second video. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. And then the front facing camera, up at the top there, I assume, I think, only 7 megapixel f2.2. But I think I've heard the cameras are pretty good, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform. It's all running on iOS 13, which again I assume is the most recent. I've mentioned the batteries, and yeah, I'm quite impressed it's got wireless charging. That's pretty cool. So I think what will be interesting as well, I think I've put it back in its box perhaps. I just did an unboxing video for the Mi Note 10, which is almost an identical price now. I think it's £10 cheaper. And obviously they're different sizes, so form factor in some way, but it will be interesting to see how the two, I will try and match the two up against each other at some point perhaps. So for your money, which way you're better going. Anyway, so I will get it all set up and I'll have a bit of a play, and then via the magic of editing, I'll be back in a few seconds to give you some of my first impressions. So I've got myself logged in, signed in, authenticated. It's quite funny because you have to authenticate through a different device, don't you? So it says, oh, we sent a code to a MacBook or an iPad, or oh my God, I'll boot my laptop up. And then I realized later when that didn't work. So it seemed to hang. So I got a code. I said, yeah, allow it. Got a code, put the code in. And then it just seemed to hang there. I mean, I waited literally 4 or 5 minutes with no indication of what it was doing. Just had it in the corner, the thing going around, which made me think it was doing something. In the end, I cancelled and said, well, what other way can I do it? And it sent me a text and I put that in. It worked then. Likewise, so I get free Apple TV for a year. And actually, yeah, I'll tell you that. There's a couple of good shows. I already watched the morning show, I think. It's very good, actually. So I signed up for that. But again, it seemed to it hung up at some point. I got the email saying my subscription had gone through, so I didn't worry. I kind of just cancelled it and moved on, but just a little bit weird. There were a few times in the setup where, to me, it felt a bit slow and unresponsive, and I was kind of going, is it doing things? Am I waiting for it to do things, or has it not worked? And it seemed a mixture of the two on different times. So sometimes it was just doing things, other times I had to cancel and do something else. I'm sure I was going somewhere on an initial point then, but I've forgotten. Yeah, so sometimes it doesn't detect touches. Let me just see if I can recreate. So one of them, I installed MyFitnessPal. I went to, no, see, it's going to work fine for everything now. But I tapped that and I was pressing the back arrow about 3 times before it actually did anything. I did think one thing we could do, where is the App Store? Oh yeah, Geekbench 5, free on Android, of course. 99p on iOS. So, and it always seems it's an advert as the first result, which, again, you don't get with, that threw me a couple of times. I was like, so what is this? It's not, oh, okay, the one I'm after is underneath. But on the whole, to be fair, installing things, and it's generally gone. So I think I can install using Google. I can't remember with Strava if I can or not. We'll see. Yeah, apparently I can. So again, that was quite quick and painless. I mean, to be fair, it did, like I think I mentioned in a recent video on Android. Android is very quick and painless with installs now. It remembers all my stuff for me, and off you go. And it's nice and smooth. I think the screen actually does look very good. I smashed out 40 miles earlier. So generally, those are good looking. It's a good looking image on this screen. It was a bit of a goodbye. So this video obviously is the unboxing. I might do it a little bit more like I did with one. And that, again, that's nice and smooth. The transitions there, look, that's really nicely presented. We're going to see in a second. I'm going to get to my intro. Point to that because that's where the microphone is. I'm going to start off with something that I don't think. So again, I think, yeah, that image, it looks pretty good. It's good colours. It's actually, when I first put setting the phone up, I thought the viewing angles were bad, but actually those are pretty good viewing angles. I was I don't know where you get notifications. So when I come out of YouTube and it was still playing, I pulled down expecting to be something there saying YouTube's playing, but there's not. And even over here, there wasn't. So I've got to obviously understand I'm going this way against the camera, which we'll come to in a second. So yeah, I just need to get an understanding for how this all works on iOS, really. Yeah, I was hoping installing Strava would get a chance where it asks me to use my fingerprint to authenticate. Initially, I thought, gosh, it's really slow. It'd say, use your finger, I'd press, I'd wait, it would turn to a tick, I'd lift up. I mean, literally, we're talking a couple of seconds. Oh my God, what is it? I don't know why it's like that, because actually, if you just press and let go, you can see if I turn it off, now I don't have to press it. That's pretty quick. That is pretty quick. So I'm not quite sure what the delay is in some of this, a software thing, perhaps, I don't know, or like just loading the animation or something, I'm not sure. I did install Geekbench 5, as I kind of mentioned, and it scored 2,366, which I think is pretty good. It's funnily enough, it's below a whole bunch of sort of budget Android devices. So that Redmi K20 Pro, for example, I think I paid less than £300 for that, and that smashes it with the benchmarks. But having said that, it's above, by quite a long way, the Mi Note 10, which was the video we were just watching that I did yesterday of the Android device that's the same price as this. So I think 2.3 is fine. That's an okay score. There's no real sort of problems with that. What else? So I think one of the things for me is going to be finding all the apps that work. So for example, I found this one, what's it called? Watched, which is something that syncs in with Tracked. So I've got obviously a different app on Android that I use for tracking what TV shows I've watched and what I still need to watch. To be fair, I've not actually searched to see if it's on iOS. I've kind of assumed it wouldn't be. So I just searched Tracked and I went through the one I use on there. So I've installed this, and it would just be about, if I was to be moving over to iOS, it's just a matter of finding all the apps that do the same as all the apps did on Android for me. What I did love is all my Google stuff is there, obviously. Everything. Calendar, YouTube, as we've already seen, Gmail, even the keyboard, even rewards, Google News. And again, that's kind of, for me, that's why Google Photos, it looks like it's finally backing up, which we'll move on to in a second, the photos. So yeah, I popped out to take a few pictures, and I think generally the camera, it looked pretty good, I thought. Colours looked pretty strong, the detail looked good. I mean, obviously I need to do a lot more. I need to take a lot more photos. I'll spend a bit more time with it when I use it. I will use the device for probably, I don't know, somewhere between 5 days and a week, in which time, I'll be taking lots of photos just because that's the kind of person I am. Then I tried the front-facing camera. That seemed pretty good. The video from the main rear camera seemed okay. At one point I thought it was really smooth. You can see some jitters in there, but generally it looked pretty good, I thought. And then I tried the front-facing camera and testing the microphone. Just a quick sample of the microphone from the front-facing camera to see how that sounds. So I thought that looked good. I mean, the background there was possibly slightly overexposed and my face was slightly underexposed. So maybe not as good as I might have hoped. But like I say, I think it just needs a lot more use for me to really make a good decision about the cameras. So I think that's it really, initially. There's a few other bits to do with iOS. I'm thinking to do a whole other video, like sort of me using iOS for a week or something, and all the different things I'm sort of confused by through the week, and if I've worked them out or not, which might help some other Android users if they wanted to try iOS, or just thinking about what it might be like and what they might miss and things. So all in all, it is fantastic hardware. It is really very nice. Really is. Looks good, feels good. You can't fault. I mean, who's surprised by that? You can't fault Apple for their hardware. Really good. Whether or not, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. That's all I can really say at this point. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. And then, now, there will be a bit of a delay on the review of this because I've only recently got my OnePlus 8 Pro. So I'm using that at the moment so I can get the review done of that in the next 5 or 6 days. Then I'll move on to this before I move on to the Mi Note 10. So the review, actual full review, could be a couple of weeks away still. But leave any comments down below of any questions you might have for me to answer. For now, my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.